With this one, we talked about a well-argued topic of multiple offers versus one, because there's been a lot of discourse in the past week, as per usual, on both sides.
Yeah, I may have been involved in some of that discord. And look, the start point is do what you want to do, and everyone's situation is different, and all those sorts of things. You and I made our case for why a capable, ambitious person should strongly consider two offers or more simultaneously. So we go into the depth of how and why we've come to that conclusion. We have an awareness of the counter arguments to it, and we do talk a bit about that. But I think for those who are on one offer considering going on a second one, they might get some insights on this call.
And we also went through perhaps some people that shouldn't, or they're not really at a stage. But this was an interesting topic, a well-covered one, and enjoy.
Enjoy.
Full-time on one offer versus multiple offers.
Ah, that old chestnut. You may have noticed there was some content out in the last week, and I may have been involved in it.
Hence the timely comment.
Right. Yeah. Okay. What do you want to talk about regarding that? I know that you and I share the same view,
Yeah.
so I don't think this will be a debate or a challenging of each other's positions, because I think we've pretty much come to the same conclusion. Maybe we should just unpack how and why we've come to the conclusions we've come, and maybe make some recommendations depending on where you're at in your journey, what your personality type is.
You
You
know
know,
what?
what path you want to go down.
So just for reference, I'll say from the get-go, I mean, everyone knows I am very pro multiple offers. However,
Yep.
I'll put forward some arguments that I've heard in the past that that individuals have said on why they want to stay on one offer. And I think there are still a couple of legitimate reasons
Yeah.
as to
There
why.
are there are legitimate reasons.
Mm.
Like, nothing is one size fits all. But our strong position the other way is when often the other side is like one size fits all. Like, if you're going for two offers, you're like distracted, bro, or you won't be able to handle the calendar. Like, they're looking for the one size fits all. Like, for me, like, do what you want to do. Yeah, a big. I posted on this the other day. A big appeal to me in this world we're in. When I say world we're in, I'm specifically referring to remote, generally high ticket, generally online, generally 1099, commission only, eat what you kill. Like, I'm referring to that. And then by extension, you're a capable or on the way to becoming a capable, and very much intend to become capable. You're ambitious and self-aware. My position is for that crowd, and that crowd is not everybody. But for that particular crowd, a big part of the appeal is in being 1099. There's upside and downside, of course, but a big part of the appeal is we are contractors. They are our clients or partners. We are not their employees. They don't control our calendar. They don't really tell us what to do, which means that you can go out and you got to perform. You got to be someone that people want to have in their team and work with. Yeah, of course. But at the same time, you have a degree of freedom that you can exercise, a freedom to, work on multiple accounts, own your calendar, control your calendar, increase hours for offer A, decrease for offer B, vice versa, depending on the movement of the market, how you feel, what's going on in your life. Like, that's a great element of doing what we do. And we all know how much the market fluctuates, whether it's the market in general. Look at the macro economy in the last month with the tariffs and the stock market and Bitcoin and other things just in the last month. And that's just like,
guaranteed that there will be peaks and troughs in offers.
of course,
And
that's the macro economy.
Yeah.
Then you go to like the online economy, and Facebook changes its pixel or some other tech tweak, and I don't know, everything changes. Cost of ads go through the roof, or reach drops, or something like that. Then there's a specific offer itself. Maybe it's kind of got a bit old and tired, and someone new and shiny.
even
And
things like Airbnb coaching, that was massive
yep,
for a while. And then the US government changed their laws on where Airbnbs would be available.
there you
That
go.
fell out straight away. And there is the idea of having another offer, building a pipeline, having a backup. But
Yep.
my logic is, and I think you and I have seen this over enough time, is
Yes.
offers, if you plot them out on a big enough chart, they're going to go up, they're going to be
Of
great for a
course.
little while, down, 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 and then every now and then they're just going to go bang, and they're going to dip. And if you
Yeah.
rely solely on that one offer, it is not in your best interest to be relying on that bit of income, because as much as the offer owners, the sales managers, everyone say they care, I'm sure they do, and I'm not saying that they don't, but
Yep.
their best interest is to keep you around
Of
during that
course.
gap for when things come back up. But my logic is, all right, if one's up here and it's doing really well, what usually happens is your second or your third one is kind of not going along. So you allot your time according to
Mhm.
which one's doing best. But when
Mhm.
one dips down, usually, and not every time, another one's going to increase a little bit. So you reallocate your time. And then when this offer that died and was a sinking ship miraculously comes back, amazing, you reallocate some of your time to that. And it's a
Yep.
lot more fluid than you either work with that company or you don't. But by extension, I've mentioned this a few times, AI consulting with a few different companies at a time, at least.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
imagine if any of them said, no, you have to work these mandatory hours. You have,
Of
no,
course. Of
not going to
course. Of
happen.
course. Absolutely. Look, a big part of making decisions is risk assessment, in the sense that what could be the downside and how likely is it to happen, and what do I do if that plays out? And on the flip side, what could be the upside? What's the likelihood I can make that happen, and how do I act if it looks like it can happen? It hits both criteria. On the upside, in short, you can be where you need to be to capitalize on where the market's hot, like your example before. If offer A is absolutely popping, allocate 30 hours a week to that and drop offer B down to 10 or 5. The market changes, you do the opposite, or whatever it is. So you're where you need to be. And on the flip side, if offers start tanking, then you're not caught with your pants down. I mean, if you're all in with one offer, and this happens all the time, the macro market changes, the marketing for this offer changes, there's an FTC issue, there's something happens, you might go from earning 40K a month to like 15K a month and then nothing, all within 3 months. Like, you're just meant to sit around and wait until they figure it out. Why would you do that? Like, that's not exercising the upside in being 1099 and controlling your calendar and being where you want to be. So I'm thinking about it that way, as a start point.
Yeah. Yeah. From the sales manager or the owner's perspective, I
Yes.
understand why they would want to do it. They want to control
So
your
do I.
calendar. They want you to be there nonstop. And even if you come in for inbound closing, when the calendar dips, the terms change. And because you've signed a contract and you can only, you're mandatory that amount of hours per week, they'll get you doing other tasks. Now, if you come on board and you are full cycle, I love full cycle. It's a lot of fun. But if I
Yes.
come in and the agreement is that I'm going to be doing inbound and then all of a sudden the terms change,
Yes.
that's a different deal.
Of course it is. Inbound works when the incentives are in place. I mean, if you come in, I'm sorry, outbound, I meant by that. So if you come in on an offer that is like, James, for anything inbound, i.e., we generate the lead and put it on your calendar, you get 12.5%. Anything that you generate was not in our pipeline, we did not give you the lead, you created it, you've cold called, you found it, whatever, you get 40%, because we have no marketing cost affiliated with that. We need to incentivize you to go out and do those cold calls and all those sorts of things. If you agree to that and that's all committed to up front, like, no worries, get after it. Great. But what often happens is you're on a role that's full time, and you've only agreed to like the 12.5%, not the second part. And we will fill your calendar with leads is often the catch cry. They do for the first couple of weeks, and then they don't. And now the request or demand or expectation comes to, well, call that 4-year-old lead that we generated 4 years ago. Oh yeah, sure, happy to. What's the commission on that? 12.5%. Why would it be different? You're like, well, that's not what we agreed to. It doesn't appeal to my self-interest. And the expectation or the thoughts are, that's the only thing you can do with your spare time. But it's not the only thing you can do with your spare time. You could be on another offer in that period of time, where they are putting leads on your calendar. Now, I understand, as you said, why offer owners and some sales managers would want you to be one offer exclusive. I totally understand it. But in short, if you're capable, if you have options, if you are self-aware, if you have a degree of self-respect, and you're 1099, I would argue it doesn't appeal to your best interest, your self-interest, to put yourself in that position in the first place and then stay in it. You're leaving opportunity on the table. You're leaving dollars on the table.
But you said something then as well that needs to be pointed out, and that was capable. Because there are people that have just started in sales, as in just started, and then they decide they want to run 2 offers from the beginning. I think in the beginning, if you're working with a company, you've just started sales, you
Yep.
don't typically have the skills or ability to run
Mhm.
one offer efficiently. Don't try and go two straight away. Work with a company where they have well set up systems. You learn the rules of the game. You figure out how to manage a pipeline and how to manage your time. But then when you get to a certain point, you've got enough runs on the board, you know you're competent, capable, and leads aren't going to slip through the cracks as soon as you add something else in.
Yep.
It is absolutely in your best interest to work with multiple.
Totally agree. So just to be clear, firstly, do what you want to do. 1 offer, 2 offers, 3 offers, 4 offers, do what you want to do. But if you are at that stage of the journey that you just alluded to, yeah, the big win for you is not to like have 6 offers going simultaneously. The big win for you is to find your feet, get some traction, be in an ecosystem where you can grow and develop and, you know, get some credibility and get some confidence and a track record of being somebody that people want to have on their team. Maybe in 6 or 12 months, then you start thinking about running 2 roles simultaneously, but that's not on day one as a start point. And a lot of those offers that are attracting or appealing to that sort of person do include daily huddles, which you and I don't like, but for people at our level, we don't like it. If you're young and up and coming and brand new and no track record, they offer quasi coaching or quasi mentorship sessions. There can and there is value often in those, and I'm not against it. So just to be clear, as a start point, here's another thing. If you want access to people at your level or my level, outside of really extraordinary circumstances, so there are outliers where this can happen, but for the most time, you don't get access to you at your level if you mandate full time. You just simply don't, because you know your self-worth, you know how to navigate through those conversations, you have so many options in play, you just won't accept that. So if you want access to like a James Lawrence type, you know, you have to ask yourself, would I rather James at 20 hours a week, you know, on my team, you know, killing it in those 20 hours? Maybe we can bump it to 25 if like it's undeniable, the offer and the relationship, but that's probably as good as it's going to get. Or would we rather zero access to him? Like you don't get access to you if you mandate sign exclusivity, you know, we own you, blah, 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 blah. And even if you did sign that contract, which I don't think you would, sorry, just finish the point. Even if you did sign that contract, which I don't think you would, the minute that, like, there's high pressure to really legitimately fill your calendar, because the minute that they stop doing that for a week or two, you're out the door. Whereas if it's say like, listen, we'd love you full time, we accept we can't get you for that, so let's do 20 hours a week. Maybe you can get up to 25 if it's undeniable, let's do it. Let's get you in at 20. If it's undeniable, we'll get you up to 25. If on the flip side, leads drop and we can only give you 10, we know we still keep access to you because you're now spending more time on offer B and C, which means we still keep you in our world. Let us fix our marketing, let the wheel turn. You know, that happens, and 3-4 weeks later, you're back to 20 hours a week. We kept access to you. So we got access to you and we kept you. You don't get access in the first place if you mandate full-time, and you certainly don't keep it the minute the leads drop. So like I would argue for an ambitious sales owner who wants elite talent, I would argue it's in his best interest to be open to that idea. Otherwise, they don't get to speak to people like you for very long.
But I'm also incentivized by where the best returns are, and the best working environment definitely matters, because if people in the team are awful, then I'm not going to be, you know, I'm not going to be part of it. But if you have a great offer and you know that those 25 calls per week that I've allotted are going to be absolutely stellar, there's going to be a great return on investment, and it's going to be better than what else I'm seeing out there, then I'm going to open up more bandwidth to that.
Self-interest.
100% it is in my self-interest. And whereas if you say no 25 hours per week or nothing and you have to go to huddles, or I mean, it's not nothing. There are alternatives. And I think
it's nothing with our relationship, as in, our relationship is nothing, but for me, my day is full. I'm just elsewhere. It's back to what I said a minute ago. If you want access to get you in the door and to keep you, you're going to have to accommodate. And it's got to feel good both ways, but I would argue it should feel good to have you for 20 to 25 hours a week kicking ass rather than not have you at all for a certain type of offer and a certain type of offer owner.
What's crazy to me is
it's
the same principle with huddles. And I remember interesting incident that caused a fair bit of back and forth was there was one Australian sales guy who was phenomenal, and it was the fitness niche. He had done a crazy amount in it, and it was a US company, and they couldn't get any people in the US to cover their afternoons and evenings, as in after, 4:30. And if you know anything about fitness, B2C, most of the sales are going to happen anywhere from 4 p.m. through till 9 or 10 p.m. when people have finished work, they've got home. So they had the opportunity for a stellar sales guy who was working an Australian offer, but then would come online at typically 2 p.m. Pacific, maybe a little bit later, and could cover the afternoons and evenings. But they said, no, we will not take you on unless you go to a huddle that was at, I think it was his 1 a.m. He's got a young family, and
I remember that. You ended up in a bit of back and forth online on the back of that. I remember that 2 years ago.
It's insane, and it's not in that company's best interest, and they are refusing access to something that would solve very real problems because of that. And I see full-time only as the same thing, but I also understand they probably get a lot of people that think they can handle it and haven't been able to do it. But it's just like by the opposite way, salespeople have been burned by so many of these offers. At that point, do they just say, well, no, I don't trust you, you're like the rest?
Sure. I mean, well, this is back to using the same skill set that we have to use in sales calls, which is, getting clarity and context and truth and depth. You can formulate the full picture and then make a decision on the back of it. It's the same skill set as every answer we get on a sales call that we have to process and respond to. It's exactly the same. Yeah. So, I mean, that's on the sales manager or the offer owner to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Like I would argue if, like, I remember the incident you're talking about. I remember the names you play. Obviously, we won't say them. But like where that draws from, firstly, the offer owner and sales manager can do what they want, but so can the salesperson. We're looking to see if we can find common ground and make it work and all feel good about it. And often that is not possible. But in scenarios like that, I would argue, acknowledging they can do what they want, but I would argue that that's either small-mindedness or that's somebody overly focused on control as a primary motivation, over ultimately performance. And there are a lot of people out there that control is a big element of how they operate. Again, people like that don't typically get access to people like you. So you can be that way, that's fine. But enjoy your life with B and C graders. And maybe you're okay with that. Because B and C graders...
that would feed into their insecurities and limiting beliefs that they already have. All salespeople are this way because the kind of people that they attract and qualify for
which is why they need to feel they need to exert control. Because all these B and C graders who are so flaky and so crap, I'm going to have to crack the whip on them. So like it's a self-fulfilling prophet. It's chicken and the egg. What comes first? But again, people like you see that coming a mile away, and you either don't go near it, or you have conversations that help them have epiphanies and realizations that, without losing face, it's in my best interest to actually accommodate a different request here because there's a win in it for me here, so I'm going to do it. They're the ones you probably do something with, or you can't get over it, and they're the ones that you part as friends and walk away from.
Yep.
But that's a big part of this game. It's having that self-awareness. It's reading the room. It's seeing what's out there. It's identifying who you want to work with, what your criteria is. Having open, well-intended conversations. If you can make something happen, great. It advances. If you can't, you walk away. No big deal. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
No, I just think of the times in the past where I have relied on one offer and that feeling of, okay, what do I do now? And that the number of times I've had conversations with people where I've said, build out a pipeline, get a second one, even low volume, cover yourself. And I can't remember a circumstance where there hasn't been a message in the following months. The offer died overnight.
Always. Near always.
Yeah.
Of exceptions, but near always. I couldn't imagine a more stressful situation than having all my prosperity tied up in one offer. It doesn't make sense on any level to me, outside of the scenarios we said earlier. But if you're in that category we mentioned at the start of the call, you're ambitious, you're self-aware, you're capable, you're chasing upside, you want to mitigate downside as well. It just doesn't make sense in any offer, in any world, to be wed to one offer. That's my each to their own. Choose what you want. That's the beauty of this world. We have choice and options, but that's the conclusion I've come to. All the best guys I know embrace their version of that, including you. All of my best students are on multiple offers. Like, one of my students, Chance, is doing really, really well at the moment. He's running 2 or 3 offers, has been for quite some time. He's doing really, really well. He has no problems managing the relationships with the offer owners or sales managers, managing his calendar, being where he wants to be. His downside's protected. He's able to chase upside. He's advancing as a person. This is the other beauty too. It's much more stimulating because you're in different ecosystems. You're meeting different people from different worlds. You're representing different solutions, talking to different markets, different avatars. One might be towards, other might be away. So you're really rounding out your skill set and ability set, which is way more agile.
Other ones that you can bring across to each one.
100%. Like it's all upside. To me, it's all upside. I get the arguments against it, but I think they're pretty easy to poke holes in. But each to their own at the end of the day.
I think that's it. I'm happy with this, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, look, I'm on one offer now, and I will stay on one offer because I obviously have coaching and some other things on the side. But prior to launching the coaching 2 years ago, I actually ran 3 offers simultaneously for 2 years, and it was wonderful. And I know you have sort of evolved beyond just closing as well, and have your other things happening. But you've had 3 or even 4 offers simultaneous, haven't you, in the past?
Yeah. It's so easy to manage.
So easy to manage. So easy to manage. And it's kind of, again, assuming you're capable and ambitious. Everything's based on those things. If you're not those things, then forget about this conversation. But probably forget about this channel as well, to be honest. But assuming you are capable or on the way to becoming capable and ambitious and are chasing upside, like, to me, if you're not those things, you won't enjoy this channel. But if you are those things or working towards becoming those things, in a way, it's almost like the bigotry of low expectations if you say you can't do that or you're incapable of doing that or you shouldn't do that. And like, I don't want to be around that energy. I don't want to be around those conversations. I don't want to be around those people. Like, that's fine. You can have that view, but our worlds are not really going to collide.
Yep. 100%.
Yep. So I think we've said our pieces, James. I think we're on the same page. We'll see what the audience has to say when they review this video.
Perfect. All right. I will see you on the next one.
I'll see you next week.